Have you on the show.
Pleasure, Rex.
Let's talk English Rugby League for a moment, or things connected with English Rugby League. Is it still a learning experience for young Australians to go over there?
I think so. I think mainly the fact of the ball skills. They've still got very good ball skills. They may not be as fit, but they've certainly got the ball skills.
I think you said a mouthful there. They certainly aren't as fit. What can they learn specifically? Just the ball skills, anything else?
Well, I think it's good experience to go to another country to settle into it. It makes them, prepares them for international football.
Yeah. Should there be a limit to the number of foreigners, shall we say, England, Australian, New Zealanders or South Africans or whatever, in one English club?
It's pretty hard to say. I came out to Australia. I made quite a good career of it. I think maybe they should have only two to each individual club, or maybe a marriage situation between them.
Well, in that context, there was a revolt at the Halifax club this year when they've got 9 Australians on their books, and Chris Anderson's now the captain player coach, and he's playing in the game we're going to see today. What about that? What was the outcome of the revolt?
Well, really a big problem there, because their president said that they were quite happy to have the entire team Australians, which is quite a mouthful. And
is he still the president?
He certainly is. He's quite a wealthy man, and of course Colin Dixon, the man that Anderson took over from, was quite upset about the whole issue.
So it finished there with Australians still with 9 players playing in the club.
Yes, of course, results make a lot of talk in sort of situation where they're winning games for the first time in many, many years. So I suppose points on the board is all that counts.
Just before we go to our coverage of this game, which is a good one too, played in wet conditions, you'd expect that though, wouldn't you? Have the English learned anything from their experience in the last, what I call an abortive tour out here?
I think the fact that they don't have to copy the Australian style of football all the way down the line. I felt that Myler did a good job in generating the fact that a lot more enthusiasm. They seem to be a lot fitter, but they forgot the main basic principle that they have in English football. That's the attacking skills and the ball skills.
All right, well, let's get on with the match now. A rugby league game today from England for today features the mighty St Helens, a Lancashire club, clashing with Halifax, a Yorkshire club. Now, it's played at the Saints' home ground, Knowlesley Road. Big Mal Meninga is the centre for St Helens, playing in number 4. And when I say big, I mean huge. He looks as though he's put on about 1.5 stones since arriving in the old art, probably eating all that English food. Saints, up until the time this match was played, hadn't lost any of their 13 matches, one of the form teams in the English Rugby League. Halifax have 8 Australians, I mentioned at the time, but they've 9 now, and they have former Australian and Canterbury Bankstown wing 3/4 Chris Anderson as their player, captain, coach at centre, alongside another Brisbane player, Tony Anderson of the East Club in Brisbane. You'll see Hagan and Ron Ryan from Canterbury at half and 5'8", also Paul Langmack at lock forward, very fine young player. There's Martin Bella and Keith Neller from the Brisbane Valleys Club. Sounds like a vaudeville team, that, doesn't it? Neller and Bella playing at prop forward. Of course, there's rain about in this game, and it's dark enough for the floodlights to be used in the second half. The game features some excellent football, and I know I've said it before, but with all the Australians involved, there's a marked lift in the defensive standard, and it certainly needed it. St Helens and Halifax, your commentators, Ray French and Alec Murphy.
Referee Fred Lindop just limbering up with his exercises. He'll be as keen as anybody to get a good game. Holding to kick. Deep in the Halifax half. Traditional colours for Halifax, blue and white hoops. And Halifax players just getting a feel of the ball. Number 9, Nigel Whitehouse, bringing the ball away. Good block-busting run here. Martin Bella, another Australian player from the Eastern Suburbs Club in Brisbane. Oh, another good driving run again from his teammate Keith Neller, Valleys Club in Brisbane. 8 Australians in this side. And an Australian tactic from Ron Ryan, kicking the ball deep. Well, Alec, it's 21 years ago since Halifax last won on this ground, and you and I were playing. You think they can do it today?
Well, I think it's going to be a very, very good game today, Ray, because both sides are dead keen. I don't think Halifax will need motivating today. They've got a lot of Australian players, and I've been impressed with them. They're quite a good side. They play some very good, attractive football, but they're going to have to play very well to win here today.
Neil Holding to put to touch. Give him a gap and he's gone. Lip trot. Oh, good ball to Platt. Oh, just couldn't get it away to his second row partner, Paul Round. Meninga, Holding. think it's Tony Burke's ball. It's not. A scrum down. Very strong, powerful front row, that Halifax. Well over 30 stone in those two Halifax props, Bella and Keith Neller. But the ball came out of the side of the tunnel. Oh, good heel from Liptrop. To Meninga. He's got Day with him on the outside. Day's got space. He's only got the full-back to beat. Oh, he's through him. Oh, what an excellent cover tackle. A forward pass. Meninga did well to take that ball off Sean Day, but it was a forward pass. Already seeing something of this. Very good, backing up. 10 minutes gone, the score still nil apiece, and it's significant that Halifax have changed the number 6, the normal standoff, Ron Ryan, to scrum half position. To Meninga, to Round. Good tackling. Halifax, always been renowned in rugby league as a very gritty side, good tackling side. I can well remember some of the hard forwards like Henderson and Kentrail and Jack Wilkinson in the 50s. The same tradition. Oh, St Helens standing still a little bit, I think, Alec.
Well, I think this is very good from Halifax. They certainly have got a lot of respect for St Helens, and when they get the ball, they're just having a go. I think every time this Ryan gets the ball, he's reading the game very, very well, and he looks a very exciting player. I'm quite excited about the way St Helens have settled down to this game. They're supporting the man with the ball and tackling very well.
Holding's ball. Something of the strength of Chris Arkwright at standoff there. Has played loose forward this season. To Platt. A lot of doubt over this lad Andy Platt, number 11, this morning. He went to see specialist yesterday about neck muscle trouble, but thankfully he's fit. St Helens still on the attack, 30 yards from this Halifax line. Arkwright to Liptrop. Not really found his feet yet, Graham Liptrop. Arkwright. Both sides having a lot of trouble underfoot. It's a very, very heavy pitch, although there's a good covering of grass. High, up and under there from Meninga. It's hovering. Oh, but well taken. Halifax, of course, the first winners of this trophy way back in 1972 when they beat Wakefield. Oh, good play from this man Ryan. Playing at scrum half, although he has the number 6 on his back. Halifax did do this last week in the league match at Hull. Although what they hope to gain from it beats me. Why they can't have the right number on his back, I don't know. Oh, good ball to Agar. And Peters again, covering across. Ryan not really looking for touch, just testing this youngster, Sean Allen. Ooh. Ooh. Well, I think that tackle from Paul Langmack really tested him. Oh, that was a tackle. I think Harry Pinner, Saint skipper, felt that. Well, St Helens are throwing a lot of loose ball out.
Well, I think this is what St Helens are guilty of, really. Halifax are making them and forcing them into mistakes, because there's some absolutely fierce tackling going on out here.
And some good running too, Alec. Just look at this lad now. He's going for that line. Oh! Has he got it? Yes! Yes, he's got it. And who is it? I think it's Mario Cercione. Yes, he did, coming in from that full-back spot. And Halifax 4, St Helens 0.
Well, I don't think we just said that St Helens was under pressure, and just watch him here as Halifax move the ball out wide. Cercione dances round from Anderson, gets the ball and receives. He's now running in full cry, slips the ball out again, and look who's here again. Cercione, number 1, and this try needs some scoring. He pushes about 3 or 4 St Helens players off and just about gets over the line.
Again with his left foot, he'll attempt to swing that ball in. And although St Halifax are leading 4-0, those 3 missed kicks from Agar could be costly by the end of this game. Agar very sensibly taking the ball on his own there. He knew his team were out of position, he knew his team were back, and the touch judge is on, yes. I think Harry Penner stamping on the player. Good decision from the touch judge. And a kick again to Agar. Now, will he go for goal? Yes. On the left-hand side. Should suit a left foot kicker. It's better struck, but still the same direction. So that's 5 attempts, 5 misses, but still Halifax lead by 4-0.
Will there be 5 costly misses, Ray? Because really, I think he should have kicked 3 of those goals. He's striking the ball well enough, but he's just putting it a foot either side. But Halifax look the more confident of these two sides. They're certainly running up supporting each other and tackling tremendously well. There's no Christmas spirit here for anybody.
Oh, good pass there from Chris Anderson to Langmack. These forwards are certainly... Oh, good striding run there. I like the looks of this number 10, Keith Neller from the Valleys Club in Brisbane. Oh, it's Anderson on the attack. 5 yards now from the St Helens line. Halifax fans roaring them on. Langmack. To Neller. Ryan. St Helens desperate to cover here. Hagan managed to get the ball out. Oh. Well, a huge roar goes up from the St Helens contingent in the crowd at that. St Helens have gone 13 matches without defeat in the league this season. Could that 13 be an unlucky omen? 5 minutes to half-time. Halifax still clinging to that 4-0 lead thanks to that Cercione try. And all credit to them, they've been far the better side this half. To Liptrop. Peters to Ledger. Well, he's a quick lad, this, it's a chase. Oh, good covering from the fullback. Well, he's only played 4 matches this season, this youngster, Cercione from the Halifax Colts team, but he's looking like a veteran here.
It'll be nice to see or hear Ray at half-time if he could listen to Billy Bennion's team talk, because he does have a problem. What is he going to say to these lads? I definitely don't think there'll be any mince pies in the St Helens dressing room, and that will be a fact.
To Hagan. Keith Neller. These two prop forwards, Martin Bella and Keith Neller from Queensland, really having an effect in this match. It's their weather conditions and a penalty against Graham Liptrot, interfering at the play of the ball. And Chris Anderson says, have another go, lad. There comes a time when as a goal kicker, you've just got to grit your teeth and keep going at them. One theory is that the more you miss, you're bound to kick one. It's one of the easier attempts that he's had. It's in front of the goalpost, but about 30 yards out. And he's missed another. Oh. Well, I must say I feel sorry for that lad, but his confidence must be very, very low, and he's giving his captain, Chris Anderson, a troublesome time now. Does he leave him on, or does he take him off for the kicks? But it's Halifax, still on the attack. Martin Bella. They're certainly not putting these prop forwards down, Alan.
Well, I think as a team, Ray, Halifax certainly look a better unit. They're playing together, they're supporting the man with the ball, and they look very confident to me. Some tellings look as though they need a leader very badly.
Well, he's bringing Chris Arkwright out again. Another off-the-ball incident on Hagan. Got height, and he's succeeded. Yes, well, isn't he delighted to see those flags go up? And he couldn't have kicked a better goal. A minute to half-time, putting Halifax further in the lead, 6 points to 0. I think he'll be very relieved to get that one over, Alec.
Well, I think not only will he be relieved, but I think he'll be leaving Father Christmas after that, because there's a smile on his face, a great big smile, and it's a very important goal right on half-time.
Halifax with the ball. Well, they were. St Helens desperate for points before half-time. To Liptrot. To Meninga. To Day. But no, not got the speed. 2 or 3 times this wing, Sean Day. He's had the overlap from the good pass from Meninga, but he hasn't had the speed to round this Halifax cover. And what cover it's been. The tackling there from Halifax has been first class. So 6 points to 0, and I think we're in for a very, very good second half.
So 6-0 and an upset on the way with 13 matches straight. St Helens have won it. What have you thought of it?
Well, Halifax are tackling well the Australian influence. St Helens are waiting for the Halifax to come to them rather than moving up, and Halifax are doing the opposite. And it's quite interesting to see that every time an Australian gets tackled, he plays the ball a lot quicker than the English players.
Might be giving the referees a bit of trouble over there.
I think it would be as well, because they're used to a lot of second and third tackles.
I was amused to see, not because he's playing very well, but Mario Ciccione, so we've got an Italian in the side too.
Yeah, it makes a change, Rex. We have quite a few nationalities in
It's
England.
a foreign legion over there, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at this second half and see how the action goes.
So 40 minutes to go, 6-0 to Halifax. And already, Alec, I think the Halifax tacklers mean business.
Well, I'd have loved to have been in the St Helens dressing room, and I don't think Mrs Whitehouse would have liked it, because I think Billy Bennion has got to have told into these people. St Helens are really looking very, very ordinary indeed. Meninga's just strolling about the park, and they've got to get some inspiration from somewhere, because Halifax are taking them apart.
And I think one of the things that's causing it, Alec, they're coming up very, very fast, these forwards. They're eager for the tackle. Tony Burke. Just look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue and white hoops. No way through for Tony Burke. To Pinner. To Meninga. Oh, well taken by young Allen. To Gawley. Well, I do think that St Helens are getting sucked into a forward game here, down the middle. That's the third tackle there they've used up inside those 5 yards. Back to Meninga. Halifax using these forwards again, and they're not really putting them down, Alec.
Well, they look a little bit livelier, Ray, the Halifax forwards. They look as though they want to play, and every time they do run with the ball, there's always a man in support, and I think they're playing very well.
And I think there's one big difference here between these two packs, Alec, and that's the size. But here's one difference now. It's Paul Langmack. Oh, he's he's got Allen. Oh, what a good cover tackle there. Well covered from Meninga. 5 yards now from St Helens line. Chris Anderson. Enough. A penalty. Referee Fred Lindop signalled a penalty. Offside again. Well, Meninga walks away in disgust, but the penalty's given. St Helens can only blame themselves. The last 4 penalties have all been given away by them. And he's kicked it. So with only 3 minutes played now in the second half, that second goal from Agar takes Halifax out to 8 points to 0 now. To Round. I think St Helens really are lacking a forward big enough to scatter these Halifax forwards. They've got plenty of pace, Alec, in the pack, but I don't think they've got the sheer physique to knock them out of the way. And they've lost it. Hagan to Bella. Good tackle from scrum half Johnny Smith, the substitute, number 14 on his back. Halifax, Ron Ryan driving to that line. Another try here to Halifax could spell disaster for St Helens. Langmack. Oh, good charging run. We might be seeing a drop kick, I think. Langmack again, good ball. Well, play on, 6 tackle. And a silly kick from St Helens. A penalty. Well, referee signifies that Paul Round diving round to play the ball. That'd be a controversial decision, that. He is allowed to play the ball when the ball's put on the floor, but not allowed to dive round. But he's missed it. Oh! Well, a knock on. Scrum down now. St Helens ball. And a penalty for talking. Well, 10 minutes into this second half, with Halifax 8-0 in the lead, I think St Helens will be relieved by that. St Helens have to score twice now to overhaul them. St Helens, with this man Mal Meninga, were 5-2 joint favourites for the trophy this morning. Oh, good tackle on Tony Burke. And his opposite number there, Keith Neller. To Pinner. Oh, he's lost it. Well, it looked a forward pass, but it wasn't, because the ball hit the man, the Halifax elbow.
I think when they said this morning, Ray, that Chris Anderson said that he knew Meninga's play. I didn't think he thought he was going to live with him all afternoon, because every time he gets the ball, they're absolutely flattening him.
Well, this looks a little better play from St Helens now. They're moving it out wider. To Round, here's something. They've got Meninga with him. Oh, good ball there to Sean Allen. Now then, 15 yards now from the Halifax line. This is more like the St Helens form that we've seen. Oh, Johnny Smith, he's got a gap. Oh, he's got nobody with him. Oh, not a forward was with him. Good tackle from Paul Langmack again, this youngster. What a fine game he's having. St Helens, Round. Chip kick from Meninga. Gates going for the corner. Can he get there? Yeah, does he get it? Well, he's consulting Mr Chamberlain, the touch judge. It was a heated decision whether the ball was touch and goal. A try. Well, he's given a try.
And this is why he's given the try. If you just watch this incident here, it's right off the man with it, who does not have the ball. Paul Round puts a little chip in. Now just watch Sean Allen. He's obstructed, and this is what Fred Lindop's give the try for. Just watch this. As he goes over, he takes the man out to play, and that is an obstruction try.
But the kick, he's under the post, so it must have been obstruction.
Yes, I think I was right, Ray. I think the try has been given for an obstruction on the lad who's just kicked the goal, and he was obstructed. He did not get his hand to the ball, but the touch judge said that he would have scored if he hadn't been tackled.
coming up. Will we see a drop attempt? No, a chip through. Oh, it's a offside. Well, it's a very unfortunate offside. Tony Burke, an instinctive reaction to snatch at the ball. It came off the St Helens player's knee. Oh, they're going for the try! And they're in! Yes! Well, Barry Ledger screaming blue murder at St Helens. And Malcolm Agar, quick thinking, quick tap of the ball, and Malcolm Agar's in at the corner. The Halifax team had not indicated that they were going for goal. St Helens thought they were going for goal, but that's quick thinking, and it's 12-6. And Agar will be looking to get this goal. Another difficult shot for him, and of course that ball's very wet, it's very greasy, it's slippery underfoot. And it's there! Oh, his best kick to date. And that sends the Halifax supporters wild. And hasn't that lad got a smile on his face now? Taking the time. Minutes ticking away now. To Ryan. Oh, another good strong run from these Halifax prop forward. From all good pass from Arnold to Tony Anderson. We've not seen a lot of Tony Anderson, this centre from eastern suburbs in Brisbane. Well, taking the touch, he's accepting the scrum. I think Tony Anderson there, the Halifax centre, knows that this scrum will take 30-40 seconds to complete. 4 minutes left. And Pinner with the ball. Last ditch attempt from St Helens. It can only be Barry Ledger. To Pinner. Well, a scrum down, Ali.
Yes, and a little bit of desperation now creeping into St Helens play, because they know they've got to go the full length of the field, and I think there's only one man on the field who can do it, which is Barry Ledger, and they're not getting the ball out to him. He's coming looking for it in the middle of the field, but Halifax are playing really well.
Oh, and there's a gap. Oh, just about sealed by Sean Allen. Halifax still on the attack, but a knock-on. Little bit of desperation creeping in here now. Halifax know that one further score will seal the game. 3 minutes to go. St Helens, Johnny Smith with the ball. St Helens, of course, needing the try and the goal to catch that Halifax team up. And it's Saints' ball. Well, they've 5 tackles and they've 95 yards to go, St Helens. And 2 tacklers like that to beat. All round. Looking for support. He's got Meninga with him. To Ledger. Now this is the man that Alec Murphy said could pull the thing out of the fire. It's a race for the ball. It's Mick O'Byrne. Oh, but a good cover. And stop the clock. Mick O'Byrne is injured, but referee Fred Lindop, very, very good piece of refereeing, stops the clock immediately. Could be a serious back injury there.
This is what it's for. Just watch Mick O'Byrne here as he goes down on this ball. It's a very greasy ball. He covers it with his body. Barry Ledger follows through, and I think he just catches him with his knee. Quite accidental, but the old massage will get him right in about 5 seconds.
About 90 seconds of time to go, apart from the odd injury time. Halifax playing through the quarter of tackles, bringing it over the 25-yard line. They won't be bothered. They'll be looking to go now into the semi-finals. St Helens getting a bit frustrated. They need the ball. Well, Minute to go. There's the ball. 6 tackles. Can St Helens do something? Chris Arkwright. Oh, he's well, I thought he'd lost it. I think he did. To Johnny Smith. To Pinner. Well, that was thrown anywhere. All round, he's got Ledger with him. But let's pay tribute to this Halifax covering. The tackling has been magnificent. Each man has worked for each man. They've certainly bottled up this fluid St Helens attack. Pinner to Smith. Arkwright. Still keeping going to Peters. We're into injury time now, waiting for the hooter. Halifax looking comfortable there at 14-8. Oh, Graham Littrot still going. Now here's a chance. Pinner, he's got Platt with him. Can he get it today? Oh, he's lost it. That must surely be the last effort for St Helens. Andy Platt gets up, disconsolate. We're in injury time now. Must be the last scrum of the match, and certainly the shock of the round. The outsiders, Halifax, look like toppling the favourites, and they've got the ball. Well, surely they'll play these 6 tackles out. And it's amazing how slowly you get up to play that ball when you know that it's injury time. Nigel Whitehouse. 3 tackles used up already. Keith Neller driving it down midfield. Keeping it close in the forward, Steve Bond. And I don't think anyone would disagree. They've deserved this lead of Halifax. And a very, very sensible piece of play. Not giving the ball to St Helens there. And there's the hooter. Halifax players absolutely overjoyed. And those spectators, they crossed the Pennines this morning. And don't they run off in delight. And who knows, St Halifax 14, St Helens 8.
Well, a major upset in that one, Mike. 2 things I think came out of it. The size of Meninga, I don't think he's fit, and the great defence by the Halifax side.
Yeah, it's quite obvious that the Australians' contingent has certainly given the boost to the defensive style, but St Helens were playing well up to that game, and it's a shame that they fell back. They allowed Halifax far too much latitude, and of course Halifax didn't allow the Saints anything. Meninga was having a little bit too much Yorkshire pudding, in my opinion. He's well over 16 stone just by looking at him. Yeah, he's a big boy.
Well, we'll see Halifax go around again next week because they've got a match against the very hot side, Hull KR, who are one of the gun-hand sides over there. And after this break, we're going to be back and show you some of the Manly Eastern Suburbs trial from Tweed Heads overnight and the South Sydney Balmain game and an interview with Frank Stanton. But after this break. Okay, back with Mike Stevenson. Mike, a couple of things. Last night in the trial match at Leichhardt Oval, they were experimenting with the matter of using the referees to be able to talk to the crowd on an amplifier. What do you think of the idea of that? To give opinions on why they've offered penalties.
I think the sooner they give it away, the better. I think they've got enough responsibility. They've got far too much to worry about rather than just letting the crowd know. If they've been informing the crowd with signals for many, many years, I can't see that this American innovation is going to help rugby league here.
Well, it didn't work all that well last night. The problem was that I think some of the electrical equipment that they were using blew up, and or not literally blew up. He didn't destruct or anything like that. But the point was it didn't work effectively, and Kevin Roberts, the referee, I don't think was very happy with it. So maybe an experimental idea, but I'm not terribly wrapped in the idea. Referees have been giving signals for years. All right, let's talk about another topic just before we go to this Manly and East game, which was played up there in the Tweed Heads. Do you place much reliance on form in these trial matches? Are you concerned about that?
Not really. I think every coach looks at it as a trial. They've got to give the new boys in the club a feel of what first grade football's all about. They try different positions, and in many cases, a lot of coaches are trying out a new captain or searching for that youngster that can come in and fill a spot. I really don't. It's the pressure of when the Premiership 2 points is on that counts. Not these are just. They're just a matter of winding up into the big season.
All right, well, let's get on to that Manly and East game from the Tweed Heads. They were beaten, as you'll recollect, 18-2 in their first trial by Eastern Suburbs earlier in the week. But they came back to win their rematch played at Tweed last night. Enormous amount of rain up north. I don't know whether you know that. The match had to be postponed once. So arch rivals Beatson and Fulton, I think, can console themselves with the thought that they've shared the trial honours.
The match was only 3 minutes old when Manly and Australian forward Paul Vaughton split the Rooster defence and found winger Stuart Davis, who dived over in the corner after beating several tackles. Unfortunately, Davis elected to score behind a strategically placed Steele Girder. The try was converted and the Sea Eagles led 6-0. Manly looked certain to score only minutes later when Phil Blake raced through a hole in the East defence. Hooker Mal Cochran loomed up in support but was unable to take the pass. The try of the match came midway through the first half, and appropriately it was instigated by former Redcliffe forward Richie Paulson, who somehow was able to slip the pass to a flying Tony Melrose, who skirted wide before honing in on the line for a great four-pointer. Manly was leading 10-0 and the young side was looking hot. The Sea Eagles crossed the line again, only to have referee David Lofts rule the pass from Des Hasler to Davis was forward. A dubious decision, but one of many that was made during the game. The match could well have turned into a farce over a simple misunderstanding by the referee. The rule that Sydney League teams play under in trial conditions is if a player is sin-binned, he can be replaced. East captain Dave Brown was sin-binned, however the referee didn't want him replaced. Coach Artie Beetson was quick to point out to the officials in no uncertain terms that he was going to send on a new player regardless. 2 penalties to East reduced Manly's lead to 6 points, and they had a great chance to steal the game from the Sea Eagles when Wilfred Williams scored a marvellous try. Mackay made the bust, found Hastings, who sent the pass on to Kiwi Paul Dunn. Williams, a former New South Wales country product, was the best player in the field for East, and he scooted away to score a great try. The match was again halted in the second half over that same misunderstanding about replacing players. It even appeared as if referee Lofts was ready to take the players and his officials off the ground. But finally, after words with coach Arthur Beetson on the sideline, the game resumed. The full-time score was 12-10 in favour of Manly, reversing the score from an earlier trial match against the Roosters on Wednesday night at Lismore.
So there it was, a fairly good win to the Manly side, although the score was close, 2-1 in their favour. If you take notice of trial form, well, I think you're silly because it's really only a guideline just to see about fitness and so forth. And let me say that having watched the game last night, did you go to the South's Balmain game by any chance?
I didn't go, no.
Well, I went along and I'm absolutely amazed at the advanced state of their conditioning. So Balmain defeated South Sydney 12-8 at Leichhardt in front of a crowd of about 5,100 who were pretty well entertained by a very fast game of rugby league. We've got a few highlights here for you. Let's have a look at this. This is, well, South Sydney scored a try through Mario Fennick from dummy half early, and he was replaced at half-time. But the Balmain side had some marvellous players on the night, I thought. Pearce at lock forward was quite outstanding. I think they've got an absolute winner in Conlon in the centre. He's a very skillful player. He did a couple of very clever things. And lovely little kick here by Bevan. And the man of the match is going to score this try, Gary Jack. He just had a blinder last night. He took bombs. You'd have sworn he'd just come off an Australian tour. He was playing in absolutely superb form. But it must be a great thing for the coach, Frank Stanton, to have his true international form right at the start of the season. Of course, the many a slip to the cup on the lip, isn't there? But he goes so well. Conlon's passing was a feature of the match. Davidson stood Harrington up badly here and then gets through. You'll see him score a try eventually. Gets through a tackle by Rampling, which should never have been missed, to score another try wide out. It's coming up now as Gale offloads. Bevan out to Conlon, the nice timing of the pass to Kane, out to Davidson, watching Stan Harrington up, go through the Rampling tackle and score the try. Now that really is good football. And I think the crowd were well and truly entertained. But the thing that's shocking me is the advanced state of their condition these days.
Yes, well, they certainly get into it. I mean, as soon as the season finishes in September, they normally just give them about 4 or 5 weeks and they're into it again. It really is professional.
Yeah, it certainly is. I spoke to the Balmain coach after the match, Frank Stanton. He had this to say. What was the most pleasing aspect from your point of view as coach?
Oh, we're certain. I don't want to give away any secrets here, but we...
You never give away anything, Frank.
We had a few shortcomings last year and in previous years, and on the evidence displayed there today or tonight, we may well have overcome them. But as I said, one swallow doesn't make a summer. There's still a long way to go.
Well, Conlon in the centre, I thought, gave you a bit of class there too. Some of his passing was superb, and he's big and strong.
Yes, he is. He's got that Cronin look about him, and we could cross a little bit sharper, and he can be a very dangerous player. But there's some good kids outside him, and Russell Gardner's not a kid anymore, but he showed a little bit of his old skill there and flair there tonight, and that could be well and truly what we were missing.
Gary Jack at fullback too looked as though he just was midway through his season and playing for Australia again.
Yeah, well, he's the Australian fullback, and you expect that sort of display from the Australian fullback, don't you?
Any disappointing aspects?
Oh, there were some, but once again, it was our first game, and there were some handling errors and unforced errors, and at times some silly penalties. But I mean, in the heat of the moment, and being the first game, I think things will settle down, and maybe those disappointments will go away.
What about a quick comment on South Sydney? Are they going to be a force on the evidence of that match tonight?
Certainly, they're a big, strong side. My guys were saying tonight that they were certainly bigger and stronger and a little bit quicker than they were last year, and they made the semi-finals last year. So yeah, they'll be a force. No worries.
Good luck in 85.
Thank you.
Frank Stanton says he's not going to give too much away. He's never given anything away in his life. Good coach, though. Very good coach. Yes, Conlon as a centre. We were both talking about him during the break.
Yeah, well, he's been criticised for his selection for Australia last year. I think Stanton's done a great job in the fact that he's put him in his correct position in the centre. He wants to play there, and it showed in that clip that is a far better centre, get himself more involved than a finisher on the wing.
All right, well, your old football team through the week, I say old football team because you're an old footballer, you understand. It's nice to have somebody nearly my age on the show.
No, Rex. My father used to put me over the fence to watch you.
They all say that, Penrith rugby league coach Tim Sheens, I think, must have been so vastly impressed by his off-season trip to the United States. He's attempting to have all his players wear protective headgear this season. Our John Harker was at their training run to file this report.
Penrith coach Tim Sheens has asked all his players to wear the headgear in today's trial match against Parramatta. In the past,